Hi everyone, hope you're all staying safe and well. Welcome to the Citizen channel. It's Bernard here with the latest Citizen vlog, and it's going to be a City present as we're going to look at do a big match preview today. So we're going to have a look at another Premier League game as they come thick and fast, don't they? We'll soon be at the halfway point now, so we do have a half-term report on the players coming up, so look out for that as well with the MEN and my little player ratings for half a season. See who's up there. Might be a few surprises, but hey, that's a couple of weeks away yet, isn't it? We're going to have a look at the game to Crystal Palace. Yeah, Manchester City versus Crystal Palace at the Etihad, 17th of January 2021. 7:15 p.m. kickoff. Bit of a weird time. But there you go. Sky Sports, so they probably know why it's on at 7:15 p.m. They squeeze in another game in later on. I have no idea. We'll have our usual features, of course. A look at our opponents, the history boys, some history between our two clubs. Odds on the game with my free just for fun bets. Yeah, after the last couple of efforts, yeah, they are just for fun at the moment, for the fun of the bookmakers, unfortunately. Regular City magazine feature, not too much today, 4 or 5 little items to talk about. Please, if you're new to this channel, push that subscribe button. We're nearly as I'm recording this, so close to 600. If we can zoom through 600, please, it'll be much appreciated. Push that subscribe button. Tell your City friends, any City fan friends you've got, if they don't know about this little channel, please point them in my direction. I will be very, very grateful. Let's zoom through that 600 figure. That'll be fantastic if we can do that. And you also see that on the playlist, lots of City stuff, City history stuff, of course, and City as well as the City present, and lots of quizzes, etc., stuff like that. And there's also some film and TV stuff as well, so if that's of any interest, just have a pop over to look at that. I do film reviews, drama reviews, information vlogs on what's coming out to buy, etc., etc. So if you or perhaps someone else you know might be interested in that, please again point them in my direction. I will be grateful for that. So anyway, if you're not worried, you're not interested in that, there's plenty of football stuff, obviously plenty of Manchester City stuff, and there's a couple of links on screen as well for Facebook and Twitter. So if you follow and friend me on there, I do check every 2 or 3 days and reciprocate and follow and friend everyone back on there. So if you're after some new followers or friends, just seek me out and put me on, and I'll as I said, I'll do it back for you. Fantastic. Right, the history boys, here we go. History boys, City versus Crystal Palace. Yeah, well, obviously recent history. It was this one, was it? With not that long ago. It's literally a year to the day, 18th of January 2020. So almost a year to the day that this game's taking place. Great cover. That's one of my. I did a little thing on the covers of the City programmes last season. If you caught up with that, and this was quite high up. It wasn't number. I don't think it was number one. I mean, I'm trying to do from memory now, just looking at the image. I don't think it quite made number one, but it was quite high up the charts. Yeah, I think a history one, so a more history one, back in history one, made number one. So yeah, it's almost a year to the day, and we got these when we went into the South Stand. Do you remember these? I've got an image somewhere that I might be putting up there. Obviously we put these up, we held these up, and I think it was the same game that Mr. Don Grant got into a bit of trouble, didn't he, in the up in the other end, up in the family stand end for holding banners up, etc. So it's around about that time. So yeah, VAR still with us, unfortunately, isn't it? But yeah, that was the 18th of January 2020. So 2-2, wasn't it? 2-2, not great, was it? There was no audio in the stadium that day either. Very odd atmosphere. I mean, it wasn't exactly bouncing with either the Palace. I mean, the Palace fans have got a good reputation, haven't they? But I've always found their away support is pretty naff, to be honest with you, as far as making a noise is concerned. So it wasn't the greatest atmosphere, even though there was no sound system or tannoy or anything, if you remember back to that, if you went to that game. Team that day was Ederson, Cancelo, Stones, Fernandinho, Mendy, KDB, Gundogan, David Silva, Sterling, Aguero and Bernardo Silva. Yeah, so a lot of them could be starting tomorrow, couldn't they? Yeah, it wasn't the greatest game, was it? KDB hit the bar with a free kick, if you remember. But we found ourselves 1-0 down at half-time of pretty weak defence. I'm sure our defence wouldn't let that simple goal like that in again. But we did get a penalty in the second half, and it was chalked off by VAR, probably rightly, because I think it came off his foot onto his arm. So If I remember rightly, the rules have been changed, so that was rightly overturned. Then we got the Aguero brace quite late, didn't we? 82 and 87 minutes, and I think the first one he scored was his 250th for the club. That was fantastic. So we could smell it, couldn't we? We could taste it. We could almost sense victory, but unfortunately, we were sort of a bit rubbishy at the back. We didn't shut the game down, and we didn't see it out. And a Fernandinho own goal cost us the game, gave Palace a share of the spoils. Obviously, he was under pressure. Obviously, if you watch the highlights back, I just had a quick watch of the highlights before. It's not a lot. Well, he could have left it, but he doesn't know who's behind him, does he, and things like that. So you can't really blame him. I mean, the stats that day. I look back at my match review that the vlogger did. I was quite low key. I think we were sort of getting to the point where Liverpool were just handing it to them, weren't we, at that stage before the COVID kicked in. And we'd had 25 shots and 6 on target to Palace's 5 shots and 3 on target, with a 73% possession and 89% pass accuracy to a pathetic 64% by Palace, which is quite low even in this day and age. And corners, we had 14 to Palace's 2. And I did comment about John Stones was the only half decent sized guy we had, so obviously that was a bit of a downer. If you watch, I won't put the link on here, but if you seek out the Crystal Palace, Manchester City versus Crystal Palace last year, you'll see in my vlog. I wasn't very buoyant, put it that way. Yeah, overall in the league at home against Crystal Palace, we've only played them 28 times in total. We won 15, drawn 7, and lost 6, and we scored 53 goals. And they've scored 27 goals against us. And our biggest wins, came in the same calendar year, actually, over 2 seasons. Obviously quite recent, as you probably know, in 2016-17 on the 6th of May. So it was one of the last games, if not the last game, I can't remember now, but we beat them 5-0 with Silva, Company, KDB, Sterling and Otamendi. Yeah, a 92nd minute Otamendi classic goal coming in that game. And then obviously the season after, but the same calendar year, on the 23rd of September 17-18, we actually Sane, Sterling scored a couple, Aguero and Delph scored, so that was another 5-0, and so obviously then they beat us 3-2 the season after, and obviously we had this 2-2 the season after that, so it's not gone so well after those two. Yeah, our biggest defeat at home. I've just had a quick look at this. It's actually on YouTube, and it's I've only seen the second half highlights with Ian Cheeseman commentating, so that was quite good. It was 87-88 season. This was the Barclays Division 2, of course, League Division 2 with Mel Machin, a wonderful Mel Machin in charge. It's this game here, this little programme there. There might be an image up there as well. And obviously it will turn into quite a poorish season back in the second division. We finished 9th, but we did get to the FA Cup and League Cup quarter-finals, so we didn't do too bad in the Cup. And of course it was a season we demolished, and I was there that day, day and night. Obviously it's a 3 o'clock kick-off. It's very dark and dank by the time it all finished. I was there when we beat Huddersfield 10-1, of course, that same season. Well, the team against Palace that day was Nixon, who had an interesting game, to say the least. Gidman, Hinchcliffe, Clements, Lake, Redmond, White, Stewart, Adcock, McNabb and Simpson. Unused subs with Varady and Scott. Palace, of course, had the striking duo then, of Ian Wright and Mark Bright, didn't they? So we had a bit of shenanigans up front, certainly with Mark Bright. The game would definitely, if you look at my horrible histories, this would probably go down in one of my horrible history games if I ever did it, which I may do one day now. I've found some footage, but it's a shame it's just the second half. I might be able to find the first half as well. But 23,161 were there. I'd say I was there that day. Paul Lake give us the lead. Yeah, he gave us a lead on 68 minutes. Paul Lake, a nice little breakaway goal. But then it all revolved around Nixon. He'd already been booked. He accused Mark Bright of breaking his nose in a collision. Obviously a sort of, as it is with a striker and a goalkeeper, come together, put it that way. But there was a bit of afters, and Nixon kicked out, and obviously it was spotted, and the referee had booked him. But then he goes and collects the ball, no problem. And obviously, I think it's Bright again. I don't think it was Ian Wright. I think it was Mark Bright again. Sort of comes to challenge him a little bit, even though he's got hold of the ball, and Nixon literally barges him away. and obviously it ends in a penalty, and it ends in Nixon being sent off, of course. So we're 1-0 up, and we'd obviously lose our goalkeeper. And obviously Mr. Steve Redmond went in goal. This was on 71 minutes, so unfortunately he didn't do anything with the penalty. He couldn't save the penalty. That was put in the net, and they soon scored again quite after him. It's turning quite nasty. There's a few rough tackles flying in all over the place, and the City fans were singing "There's gonna be a riot" and all that. But obviously, funny, you could hear it on the TV on the playback there. I mean, obviously I was there that night. I can't particularly remember that. I'm sure we sung that once or twice when we got angry. Obviously we sung that when we said if Joe Hart had ever leave, didn't we? But we never do. We're always brave, aren't we? But we never follow through with these threats, do we? Yeah, Mark Bright headed in a second for Palace. I mean, Redmond didn't have much of a chance, and in the 82nd minute we got a penalty, so we got a chance to equalise. But unfortunately, Mr. Paul Stewart hit the post with that one. So he got the old Sterling jitters, didn't he? Well, at least he hit the post. Sterling just hits Rose Head, doesn't he, with his penalties? But yeah, so we missed that opportunity, and Mark Bright then added another. He added a clincher just about 5 minutes before the end, and obviously it finished with the City fans singing "There's going to be a riot" just before the sequence went off anyway. So yeah, I'll put the link up anyway. Have a look at that on YouTube. It's quite a long sequence actually for the second half, but quite an interesting day, and I'm sure he enjoyed it on the night. But there you go. And it's nice to hear Ian Cheeseman's commentary. I mean, my first memory of City versus Palace was the first game of the 79-80 season, as Terry Venables brought the second division champions to Main Road on that day. A big crowd. I mean, we had big crowds in those days, late 70s, early 80s. 40,681, but a pretty miserable 0-0 display. And the team that day, that's the first time I remember going and watching Palace. I may have missed one somewhere along the line, but I think we were in the first division, obviously, for many years from the 60s, and I don't think Palace were. So as far as I can remember, that's the first time I saw City against Palace. The City team that day was Corrigan, Ranson, Stepanovic, Caton, Booth, McKenzie, Dana, Power, Robinson, Tony Henry, Barry Siltman, and we had a sub, Mr. Colin Jones. Yeah, and interestingly enough, for Crystal Palace, he kept a clean sheet. And guess who kept the clean sheet? Yes, Mr. John Burridge, the guy who used to go to sleep in his goalkeeper gloves and used to hold a ball while he watched telly in the living room and mess with the ball. This is what he used to say. Yeah, he would go on, of course, to have a season with City as well late in his career. He played for quite a few clubs. He had quite a big CV. Not many games, but he sort of certainly knocked around, didn't he? So how are they doing this season? Yeah, they currently sat 13th after picking up 23 points from 18 games. So okay, not bad. I mean, obviously they do struggle some seasons, don't they? But they seem to have a purple patch that sort of pulls them through. They head into this clash on the back of a hard-fought 0-0 draw with Arsenal at the Emirates in midweek. And Hodgson admitted it was a hard game, and it sort of took it out of them physically and mentally. So obviously, hopefully they'll be physically and mentally drained when they play us. The away form, they usually have quite good away form, Palace, but this season it's sort of only slightly worse than the home form. They've won 3, drawn 2 and lost 4. Before the Arsenal game, they've been beaten in the FA Cup by Wolves, but before the Arsenal game in the league, they were beaten by Aston Villa 3-0 on Boxing Day. So it's not great, and they do have a few problems as well. They'll be without Connor Wickham. He's got an ankle injury. Midfielder Jeffrey Schlupp is also out. He's got a hamstring problem. Mamadou Sakho and Martin Kelly and Nathan Ferguson and Scott Dan are all on the sidelines with injuries. So they do have a few little injuries. And the Welsh goalkeeper Wayne Hennessy, I think he's there. Is he there number 1 normally? I think he's also out with a knee injury. So, hey, yeah, my little thoughts on the game. I mean, it was a creditable draw for them at Arsenal, but let's face it, we're much better than Arsenal. No disrespect to Arsenal, but yes, we are much better than Arsenal. And surely with those injury problems, I mean, he's a canny soul, isn't he, Hodgson? But surely with those injury problems, we have to win this, don't we? Of course, they'll take the heart from the draw they got, and of course, they'll take heart from the last 2 visits to the Etihad, where obviously they've won 1 and drawn 1, haven't they? So they will sort of come to the Etihad with confidence. I don't think there's anything not to be confident about. We have to be firing, don't we? We were less convincing, obviously, against Brighton and Hove Albion, so hopefully we can do a little bit better and play a little bit. The weather's might be kinder, although it's cold. It's okay today. I don't know what the weather's like for Sunday, but it's certainly all right today. So, yeah, it's going to be tough, but very doable. It's about time we had another 5-0, isn't it? As I said, we sort of we've let it slip a couple of times, haven't we, recently against Crystal Palace. But it should be doable. But we're going to have to be up for it. And some certain players are going to have to perform that perhaps haven't been performing to the best at the moment. The lineup, let me give you a lineup. If I get 8 or 9 of these right, I'll be quite happy. I've got Ederson, Walker, Diaz, Stones, Cancelo, Rodri, KDB, Gundogan, although KDB might still be knackered, I don't know. I believe he was tired out the other night, and that's why he didn't take the penalty. But hey, I'm not going to bleat on about that again, but I was a bit angry with that, to be honest with you. Yeah, sorry. Ederson, Walker, Diaz, Stones, Cancelo, Rodri, KDB, Gundogan, Foden, Bernardo and Sterling. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking whether he put Jesus in, but he didn't have a great cameo, did he, the other night? So that was pretty poor. So yeah, that's my team. I don't know what you think. You let me know. Let me know what you think of that team. I mean, I wouldn't particularly play Sterling, to be honest with you. I'd even rather play Mahrez than Sterling. I know that's horrible thing to say, isn't it? And I'd probably even play Jesus instead of Sterling as well. But allowing for the COVID and the fact we know Aguero's not playing, I just saw the first half of the press conference, and he didn't. I don't think he mentioned Torres being injured, but. So there's a possibility if he is available. He didn't clarify. I think he said that Aymeric Laporte was still injured, obviously, but Garcia's back. But hopefully we don't see him. I'll be happy if we don't see him. So that's my lineup anyway. Let me know what you think yours will be. The match officials, yeah, we got Lee Mason in charge. Well, we have a few games every season, don't we, these referees. These linos for the day are Scott Ledger and Tim Wood. The fourth official is Andy Madeley. And the VAR, Martin Atkinson. It's like a hat-trick of rubbish referees, isn't it? Assistant VAR, Peter Kirkup. Mr. Kirkup. So there you go. It's on Sky. Yeah, as I say, it is on Sky Sports, yeah. My score prediction... It's horrible, isn't it? As I say, we'll go on to the odds in a moment, but... I almost said 2-0, and I think that's one of my options later. But I'll go for 3-0. Hopefully, we'll fire a little bit. But I can't see it being a 4 or 5-0. It'd be nice, but you just don't know with City at the moment. We quite easily could be leading 1 or 2-0 and take our foot off the pedal and win 3-0, or we could be 3-0 up and then take a foot off the pedal and just stay at 3-0. You know, I don't see Palace. I'm hoping Palace won't score. I mean, a lot of my little things are based on the Palace aren't going to score, so I'm going to go 3-0 anyway. Let me know what you think it'll be. The odds on the game. Please, I don't condone gambling, and when the fun stops, stop. And never, ever gamble more than you can afford to lose. I do this as a bit of fun, a bit of extra interest. I've been doing all right, but the last couple of games have been a bit of disaster. Another wipe out in the last game against Brighton, of course. It was a 4 points loss on the day. And if Sterling, unfortunately, I did have a little bet on a 2-goal winning margin. So if Sterling had done something, or KDB had the bottle to step up and take the penalty, I would have been all right. Would have made a small profit, but obviously, so that was a bit disappointing. But hey, we onwards and upwards. Right, let's have a look at. Just looked at some of the value stuff for tomorrow. Obviously, to win the Premier League, I always have a look at that. City still odds on, still 8-11 odds on. Liverpool are coming a little bit. They're 3-1. I think they were 10-3 last week. So they're 3-1 now, a bit more confidence in Liverpool there. Palace are 14-1 for relegation, so they're the 6 favourites to be relegated. And on the managers to go, the next managers to go, Hodgson's the 4th favourite at 12-1, so he's not guaranteed, is he? Obviously, Pep's on and very comfortable, 66-1, so that's all right. The match odds, there's no value in this at all. 1-6 on City are to win it, 15-2 the draw, 18-1 for Brighton to win it. I don't even think they'll score, hopefully. I mean, fingers crossed, no disrespect to Brighton, but, you know, I think City should keep another shutout. It's just a matter of how many we can score, hopefully. Both teams to score. No is 4-7. Again, that's more likely, but it's a bit restrictive. And yes is 5-4. So even the bookies don't think both teams will score based on that. The correct score, as I said, I've gone 3-0. That's 13-2. So I've got a point on that 3-0. And I've also covered a 2-0. I've gone 2-0, so it'll be either 1-0 or 4-0, won't it? Or a Palace win, no, in my luck. But yeah, 2-0 is 11-2, so I've got a point on that as well. Other scores for City to win: the 15-2 is 1-0 is 15-2, and 4-0 is 10-1. So if you fancied that, I mean, 4-0 is an option, isn't it? If you think it's going to be 2-2 like it was last season, you get 40-1. So if you want to go for a 2-2 draw again, there you go. Half time, full time. I can't see anything other than City doing it. So a City's 8-13 on, not great. A draw and City's 3-1. So will they hold us till half time and we pick them off in the second half? I'll be panicking if it's 0-0 at half time or we're getting beat, to be honest with you. Anytime goal scorer. Foden's 8-5, that's very possible, isn't it? Mahrez is 13-10, very possible. But I've had another point on Bernardo at 5-2. I think that sounds alright. I think he came close again, didn't he, at the post the other night after scoring the game before. So yeah, but I think his confidence is high. He'll have a pop, and he's always going to get chances, isn't he, Bernardo? So if he plays, which I think he will, I'm going to have a point on him at 5-2. Other odds: Gundogan's 13-5, Diaz is 17-2, Stones is 11-1, and Rodri's 10-1. So if you fancy a little bit of an outside chance there, obviously up for corners. I think Palace are okay in the air. I think they're all right at defending set pieces. Winning margin, 1 goal is 10-3. Sorry, not winning margin, under-over, the under-over market. I'm looking at an old one there with that winning margin. That was a couple of games ago on my template, my apologies. The under-over markets, yeah, the last thing I'm going to look at, I'm going to have a bet on. Under 3.5, so I'm going on the basis that there won't be more than 3 goals in the game. So that's 8-13 on, but I'll have a couple of points on that because I don't think it's going to be a massive high-scoring game. I hope, but as I said, I'm going for 3-0 or 2-0. But hey, take a chance. I'll take it under 3.5, 8-13. I don't think it's a bad price. I've gone 2. I don't like betting odds on unless but I'll have a little go on that just for a little bit of interest. Yeah, now on to our little regular City Magazine feature. Just a couple of things. There's a great image there of Tanya MCFC at Tanya Davis. Yeah, she's obsessed with a new shirt. It's a nice shirt, isn't it? I do like I'd have one of them myself. But that's from a firm called At Art of Football. I think they do most clubs, not just City, obviously. But I think that's a great shirt. So if you fancied some of that, get on At Art _of_ football. The address should be on the screen anyway. So have a look at that on there. And yeah, an interesting one from Football Time at Nations at FC Time Nations. Again, the address is on there. Fantastic image there. It's supposed to be circa 1939. That. So I was looking at the shirt and I think if it seemed about right, it probably does with the collar. Because it looked a newer picture to me. It looked more 50s to me. But yeah, it's circa 1939, so obviously just before the Second World War. But that's a great image. It's showing the number 4 onto the shirt. I should have had a look who was number 4 for City in 1939, really, shouldn't I? My apologies, but sure you can have a look at that. It certainly wasn't Mike Doyle, was it? But hey, he's probably my most famous number 4 anyway, Mike Doyle. I'm trying to think any newer players have worn number 4 that would be... What was Company? I can't remember what Company was. Absolutely useless at squad numbers. I'm useless. I say I can remember the 60s and 70s guys. I can't remember even the new ones. So yeah, but that's a great image, wasn't it? So in the shirt there in 1939. A couple of things concerning City, of course. The FA Cup 4th round tie away to Cheltenham is now to be screened live on the BBC, so that'll be fantastic. And have you got your virtual ticket yet? There's a thing for virtual tickets. You want to contribute to Cheltenham, obviously the virtual ticket thing that many City fans are contributing to. So if you want to do that, that's out there. Just have a look on social media. You should be able to find that. But yeah, the match at the Johnny Rock Stadium, what a name, will take place on Saturday 23rd of January with kick-off at 5:30 p.m. So that's not too bad, is it? So that's live on BBC. So that's nice to see. Should be an interesting game, that, shouldn't it? And of course, Manchester City's Premier Home League game against Aston Villa, which at the moment is still on, even though obviously Villa are getting games cancelled left, right and centre, aren't they? At the moment it's still on anyway, so that's been rescheduled for a 6 p.m. kick-off. So Wednesday 20th of January, as originally planned, will now is the same date for the game, but it's now going to kick off a little bit early at 6 o'clock, which is fine by me, because as you probably know, I'm up at 2 a.m. on the Thursday morning, so that's always great. A little bit early gives me time to at least put something together and then do the preview review the following day. And that game's on BT Sport, the Aston Villa game as well. But we'll have more on that obviously when I do the preview of that. Yep, so there you go. Anyway, thanks for joining me for this little match preview of the Palace game. I'll be back with a review of it on Monday afternoon, of course, because it'll be finishing fairly late, so it'll be lunchtime before I can put this together, put the review together, and I'll get it out on YouTube on Monday afternoon. Please check out as well. There will be that was the week that was. We just obviously had the Birmingham and Brighton game, so I've just done all 20 questions for that. I'll be recording that in the next couple of hours, and that will be, well, next 2 or 3 hours, and that should be coming out on Saturday if you're watching this, so that should be out from, we're on the 15th today, aren't we? So it'll be the 16th of December. Keep your eye, 16th of January, keep your eye out for that was the week that was, little family fun quiz just to spot the ball and missing headlines and who's guess the player and stuff like that. Just a little bit of fun for the City fan family. So the fans, of all ages, from 2 to 80 or 2 to 200 or whatever, however old we are anyway. So keep your eyes out for that. That'd be great. Anyway, thanks for joining me for this big match preview. Let me know in the comments any thoughts, your teams, what score you think it'll be. That'll be great. Just let me know, and I will have a look, and I might I'll put you on the review and say, oh, you were right or you were wrong or something like that. So just anyway, leave me any comments you want. Anyway, thanks for watching today. What are we going to do this today? Have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your families. More importantly, let's all look after each other. Until we meet again here on the Citizen channel, or perhaps you flit across to my film and TV channel. Well, wherever it is, all I can ever ask is please stay safe, Blues. Come on, City. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.